Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Again. Aurora Vasquez, staff attorney for Advancement Project. I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for being here. I think this is a really important opportunity for folks who are interested in this issue, be you Latino or not Latino. And I think we're at a very important place in history. And so meetings like this and conversations like this become vitally important. And sir, I will get to your comments and some of the questions you had about, why the ID issues may or may not be problematic, because I think that's an important question and one that we see coming up all over the country. Now for Advancement Project, our work, we refer to it as voter protection. Oftentimes it's referred to as election protection, but for us, election protection is often what is seen as the work that is done on election day. And at Advancement Project, because we're a civil rights and racial justice organization, we take a much broader look. And so we talk about voter protection, which means taking care of the whole process year-round. Because the problems that surface on election day are oftentimes so difficult to address that on that day, at that moment, it's much too late to remedy. And there's a number of problems that come up. Voting machines, how they work, whether they work. When we're looking at the new electronic machines, whether people know them, language access issues, ID issues at the polling place. So it's imperative that there be efforts all over the country to keep a constant look at all the things that lead up to election day. We absolutely have to make sure that all the ducks are in a row in this system. Because if we wait until the day of and it falls apart, we will have another Florida. And what a lot of the public doesn't know, or the information never necessarily got down to the everyday folks that really make this country run, is that the fiasco in Florida, not the hanging chads, but the big list that was used to keep people from voting, that's sometimes referred to as the felon disenfranchisement list, which was a list of people who had felony convictions and could not vote. Because in Florida, once you have a felony conviction, you're barred for life from voting, unless the governor reinstates your voting rights, and that's not an easy process. So it doesn't matter that you've served your time and you're done and you're now working and you pay taxes like everybody else, you simply cannot vote. So they collect names of people with felonies. And in Florida, several thousands of people were kept from the ballot box because their names were on this list erroneously because of the parameters that were used to put people on the list. So that didn't happen overnight, folks. Come on, let's be honest, it didn't. They built up that list several years before the 2000 election. And we as advocates only found out about it on election day when people started showing up and they were told, no, you can't vote because your name's on the list. Too late, folks. Too late. Thousands of people did not cast the ballot, and it turned, many of us believe, it really turned the results and the outcome in that state. On top of the fact that it has infected people psychologically, mentally, socially, their commitment to the voting process. I talked to people today who say, I voted in 2004 the first time. I talked to a young Latino voter the other day from Florida who called me at the DC office, who said, I voted in Florida in 2000 for the first time, and to this day, I'm not sure my vote counted. So I'm not so inclined to vote again. And that is the sentiment we're seeing, and that is what some folks out there would like. And so when you think about the importance of making sure people are able to cast the ballot, voter protection becomes very, very important in that context. And it brings us back to talking about the barriers and identifying them ahead of time. So sir, your question, I would have to respectfully disagree with your characterization that if we make it easy, people won't value the process. I think it's quite the opposite of that. And I absolutely agree with your statement where you said that people died for this. And you're right, people in this country died to give us access to the ballot box, to remove the barriers. So there is no way we can sit back now and allow those barriers to be put back in place, even though we're calling them something different. In the past, it was whatever they were calling it. We know civil rights history. Today it is, show me your ID. When the reality is that there's information out there that shows, especially in big cities, that have access to buses on the East Coast, subways, metro. There are people who live and die never getting a driver's license, never getting a state ID because they don't drive, they don't need it. I ride the metro to work every day, don't own a car. Had a car when I lived in California. The minute I moved to the East Coast, gave it up because I could just jump on that L, jump on the subway, didn't need the driver's license.